Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, and on the line with us is Manuel Perez-Rocha. He is an associate fellow with the Institute for Policy Studies. IPS-DC.org is the website. It has seemed to me that ever since NAFTA was passed, that all three countries, Mexico, the United States, and Canada, all three of us got screwed. The only winners were the giant multinational corporations that right now have lawsuits to the tune of $30 billion against sovereign governments.
Of course, this is what has to be understood, basically, that it is not some, as President Trump portrayed it during his campaign and continues doing so, it isn't like one country gets crushed and the other wins. In Mexico, a very, very tiny elite has been winning with NAFTA. Most of the people have been, most of the working class and the medium class of Mexico has been really affected in many ways. What has to be understood is that originally, the original design of NAFTA was to make them best to make the best of the salary gap between the U.S. and Canada on one side and Mexico on the other, and this is what has moved so many companies to Mexico. But this has not made up for all the jobs lost in Mexico as well, and all the livelihoods in the rural areas lost in Mexico because of NAFTA as well. So it's been however you want to see it, has been in detriment of our populations, NAFTA. Yeah, and I was just hearing your prior program about the Kuznets curve, and they were saying that inequality is a design failure, and this is exactly what NAFTA has been, a design to impoverish people and to fill the pockets of the corporate elite with so much money. And it's not a coincidence that inequality has skyrocketed so much in the U.S. and in Mexico precisely in the last 2 decades. No?
Yeah, and perhaps in Canada as well. I don't know the statistics there. So you're an associate fellow with the Institute for Policy Studies, a think tank here in D.C. What are your recommendations?
Well, we're working, internationally among sectors, among unions, environmentalists, and we produced a declaration 2 months ago when we had a large gathering in Mexico City with hundreds of people. Lots of people from the U.S. and Canada went there as well, from the National Farmers Union, from the AFL-CIO, from Public Citizen, from the Sierra Club, etc. And our recommendation is now to hold on. First of all, they have so much hurry in renegotiating NAFTA, and it's so confusing because it's not very clear what the United States government really wants. And the recommendation is to hold on until there is a democratic process in which organizations of all sorts can participate and can have a meaningful debate. But for example, one of the recommendations is that we have to reinstate rules of origin, but not only rules of origin at the North American level, but at national level, so we can guarantee that our internal trade in North America has more national content. The problem with Mexico's exports, 80% of Mexican exports go to the U.S., but they're not really Mexican. Mexico is an assembly plant, a massive assembly plant because of the cheap labor. And what we need is to put, as Mexicans, I'm of Mexican origin, we need to put much more national content into the exports of Mexico. That is, make small producers participate more because they've been completely sidelined of international trade. So this is just one proposal. The other one, big one, is that salaries in Mexico, wages have to stopped being suppressed because they're officially suppressed, and they maintain the minimum level to less than $5 a day, and this is completely anti-competitive, of course, for U.S. and Canadian labor. Third, we have to, I don't know if Melinda spoke about this yesterday, Melinda St. Louis, about the need to get rid of the investor-state dispute settlement mechanism that allows corporations to bring governments to tribunals like the World Bank's ICSID, the International Center for the Settlement of Investment Disputes. We have to get rid of that unfair system that also has this chilling effect on government regulations. Government responsible social environmental regulations are chilled because of this fear that the big companies can bring them and sue them for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Mexico has lost hundreds of millions of dollars already under these suits. Canada is being sued for billions, and the U.S. is also at risk of being sued permanently.
Yeah.
So there's many proposals, but of course we don't have the space to have them heard.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff, and it's getting no coverage in the media whatsoever, and we really need to pay attention to what's going on here. Although it's all happening behind closed doors, which is not a good sign. Manuel Perez-Rocha, the Associate Fellow at the Institute for Policy Studies, ips-dc.org. Thank you, Manuel.
Thank you very much.
Great talking with you. We'll be back.